Hey guys, welcome to the Gods Unchained beta with the TheProfesserf. Alright, in today's video, I am joined by a special guest, Clutch. Clutch and I will be going over some of the leaked cards from the new set. That's right, the new set has been announced. It is called Divine Order. It is the second set of Season 1, part of Champions Rise. Clutch and I will be going over some of the key cards that have been revealed so far. So let's get right to it. Alright everyone, we're going to take a minute to take a look at all the new cards that were released and leaked through streams the past week. I'm lucky here to have Clutch, one of our top players in Gods Unchained. He has been on fire lately, tearing up the ranked weekend ladder and also taking #1 MMR quite a few times. Clutch is joining me today to help me take a look at the cards and see which ones we like or don't like, or just, what our overall feelings with the cards are. So welcome, Clutch.
Yo, glad to be here. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, Clutch, for you guys who don't know, has been doing really well in the ranked weekend. He's been enjoying this buff to war. So, he has definitely takes on and provides a lot of perspective from the top level of play here. So we're lucky to have him here and hear his thoughts on some of these cards. So we'll start with the first one here. We have the Frostbitten Channeler. It's a 2-mana magic card. Stat line is 3 attack, 2 health, has a Mystic Tribe, and has Spell Boost +1, which we all know what that is, and has Order 3. So Clutch, what's your initial thoughts on this card?
So if you look at this card and you take away the Order 3, this card is really good. So I'm already thinking that Order 3 is detrimental to whoever has it on their minions.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because you're saying that without that spell effect, without order effect, a 2-mana 3/2 with a spell boost is already pretty good. So you're thinking order 3 must be something to offset that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because you have the 1 mana 1/3 with Spell Boost. This is better than that stat wise. So I think Order 3 is probably detrimental in some way.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good take on that. There was some speculation thinking that order allows the player to take a look at their cards and arrange it, but it doesn't look like you're right. It might not be a an action. It might just be some sort of effect on it. That's an interesting take. I like that. I like that. Anything else to add on this card before we go to the next one?
Uh, nope.
No? All right. Let's take a look at the next one. All right. Next card. We have the Rabid Bear, 3-mana nature card. It has stat line of 3/4, a wild tag on it, and has a roar effect. If you are frenzied, meaning the person that played this, give this creature +1 strength and confused. What's your initial take, Clutch?
So again, we don't know what Frenzied is, but if it's easy to achieve, this card is crazy. It's a 3-mana 4/4 with Confused. Nature loves overstated, cheap minions. This would fit right in if Frenzied is easy to get on your god.
Yeah, that's a good point about the overstated minion. I mean, currently we have the 2-mana 3/3 Confused Jaguar, and then we have the 4-mana 5/5 Confused Rhino. So this one fits the curve. It's perfect. It's just 3-mana possible 4/4. So you're right about the overstated thing. I mean, it just fits right in.
Yeah, but again, depends on what Frenzied is. I heard some speculation that if your god is damaged, you're Frenzied. So that's pretty easy to achieve, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure about that because you're right. I mean, getting damage is the name of the game here. I mean, you're trying to damage their god, or you're using relics to damage the opponent's creatures, which gets you damage itself. So that would be an easy proc to get. So if that is what Frenzy is, and I'm not sure if it is, but if that is, you're right. That's super easy to get. All right, next we have a 2-mana neutral stat line of 2/2, an Amazon tribe, the Amazon Spellcatcher, and it has Blessed and Ward. What do you think, Clutch?
Yeah, so unlike the magic minion, we can tell that Blessed is good for the card. Because there's a 1-mana 2/2 with Ward already exists. This is 1 more mana, so obviously Blessed is going to be beneficial to whatever minion it's on. But again, we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, that's a great point. I actually never thought of it that way. I always when I saw these cards, I kind of took the word as is, like order sounds like something that's good, bless something sounds like something that's good. But I like how you're comparing it to existing cards and then seeing what the stat changes are or what the stat changes are not, and then trying to figure out the effect if it's a positive or negative. That's a really good perspective on these cards.
Yeah, it's like reverse engineering the cards.
Yeah, that's great, great man.
I haven't even heard of speculation of what blessed is, so I really don't have any, even a little bit of idea what it could be.
Yeah,
I actually think I did hear someone say it could be favor related.
right, right. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I've heard as well. A blessed creature like this one would somehow, just for example, any action it gets double favor instead of the usual. So for example, if it hits the opponent god directly, a regular card would get 3 favor, but maybe if it's blessed, it gets 6 instead. But again, still speculation. We don't really know what it means. But yeah, blessed sounds like it has something to do with favor, but again, speculation.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Well, let's say it was. If you do think blessed, it has to do with favor, and let's say that it's that effect where actions from this card gets double favor. I mean, what do you think? It has the same stat line as Drider Sailweaver, and with Ward, do you think that's worth it, getting the bump on favor?
Probably not. Because it's supposed to live, it's supposed to attack. It's probably not killing anything and living, so it's got to go face for 3 extra favor. You're paying 1 more mana. I don't think it's worth it. If that's what it does, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, good call, good call. All right, next we have a 3 mana neutral. It's a 3 attack, 1 health, a Nubian, the Strix Conscript with armor 1. Take it away, Clutch.
Yeah, so another card, we don't know what armor is, but I think it's safe to assume that it means the minion takes 1 less damage from all sources. So if we're assuming that's what it is, this card just seems like a worse Trojan Battle Mage to me. Um, it armor should just be worse than protected if it's armor 1. So I'm not really seeing the Nubian tag could come in handy, and it is neutral, so class cards are, in general stronger than neutral cards. But if that's what it is, I'm not really seeing this card being too good.
So have you heard of this one? What if armor works in a way that it has to overcome the armor to do damage? And I'll give you an example. So let's say you play this on your board, right? A 3 mana 3/1 with armor. I equip a Fayfame Blade. My Fayfame Blade only does 1 damage. I try to hit this, the armor negates my 1 damage, so you survive. Because I only broke the armor, I didn't break the health. Now let's say I equip a Jaguar Staff, which has 2 attack. I attack the conscript. So now my 2 damage Jaguar Staff, 1 damage covers the armor, and then the extra damage covers the health. So what do you think if it does that?
If it works like that, there's definitely situations where the armor is better, and like you said, the um, Faith Flame Blade is one of them. I'm assuming armor doesn't break either, so you would hit this twice and it still would be alive,
Right.
basically. And that does make it better than the Trojan Battle Mage. So I could see it. Like even if you place against a board of 1/1s, they can't kill it.
Yep.
But they could kill a Battle Mage though.
Yeah, yeah. So another example is let's say Athenian Archer, right? Athenian Archer will do a 1 damage roar effect, but it's only going to hit the armor. Versus a veteran archer, which can hit twice, 2 separate 1 damage pings, right?
Right. Yeah, it's probably not as bad as I think it is, especially with the Anubian tag. You can't overlook that. I know Death has a lot of Anubian synergy, and this might fit in there
Okay,
pretty
okay.
nicely.
All right, all right. Let's take a look at the next card. All right, next card. We have a 1 mana death spell. Name is Blood Armor. It sets one of your creature's armor to 1 and then deal damage to your god.
At first, I thought this card was pretty bad, but then I heard the example of you put this on your Pyramid Warden on turn 2. I mean, that's pretty good. That'd be pretty difficult to get through. I'm just not sure. Just not sure if it's worth it for that one combo.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Until we get a clear definition, right, of what armor does, this one's a little more difficult to judge if it's good or bad.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I mean, they could take advantage of the dealing two to your god. You know, death likes to get below 15 HP. Would you run this in that type of deck that's really aggressive? This seems more of like a control card. You put it on a frontline creature, and you watch your opponent struggle to get through it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking about that as well, that the deal 2 damage might be beneficial, but then if you're comparing it to something like Brimstone, which draws you a card, but also does 2 damage to yourself and your opponent, that looks like, for a damage card for that type of deck, you'd like the other one better. So I think I agree that this one's maybe fits more into a control deck because you're only doing damage to yourself, but then you're now affecting something on your board, giving it a buff of an armor, right?
Right.
Cool. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, our next
Cool.
card is a 2 mana Deception Relic. No attack, but 1 durability. It's the Cobra Scepter. When your opponent draws a card, deal 2 damage to their god. What do you think, Clutch?
I think this card is crazy good. Um, Now there is a lot of relic removal around right now. So if that is the case when this card is out, it obviously will not be as good. But if you ignore that, this card is insane in a slow deception deck. It just sits. It's an infinite relic. It's not losing durability on its own, and they just take damage every single turn. It seems insane. It actually seems overpowered to me.
Wow. And that's just because if you're thinking that if it doesn't get destroyed, basically every turn you're just getting a 2 free damage clock on your opponent, right?
At least 2 damage. You can run cards that draw for both of you. Your opponent's probably running cards that draw more cards, because that's how you build decks. I just think this card is insane, but again, if it is insane, people can just tech in some relic removal. It probably won't be that dominant, but I think it is really strong.
Yeah, you could catch people by surprise. And you're right about the card draw. People, you could run this with a Deception, stack the deck, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
Or maybe, maybe Ambitious Adventurer will become meta.
Come on.
All right, all right. All right, next one, next one.
Jeez, dude.
What,
That doesn't
man?
even draw for your opponent. I know,
Yeah,
I've played with it.
you're right, you're right. All right, next card. Deception, 2 mana creature. It's a 2 attack, 3 health. Demolitions Expert. It comes with Order 3. When this creature loses order, destroy a random enemy creature with frontline. Oh, that's very specific. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, that is very specific. It almost seems like they're trying to counter Pyramid Warden with this card. But, again, we don't know what Order does. I think this is one card where you need to know what Order does to know if it's good or not. That's just, it seems, if it's easy to lose Order, I mean, destroying front lines pretty good early game.
Yeah, and I think you bring a good point a couple of cards back talking about how trying to reverse engineer the benefits or the keywords if they're good or bad. And so ignoring order here, if you play a 2 mana 2/3, that's vanilla. That's pretty standard. But then now you have an effect here that says when this creature loses something, destroy a random enemy creature. So right away you think, okay, that's a buff to the card because now you're getting an extra effect along with the stat line. So then I think I tend to agree with your methodology here, where then if that's the buff, then order must be something detrimental then to balance it out. Am I on the right line there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Order 3 has to be bad in this case, because, I mean, this can take out a Heathen Elite if Order is easy to lose. So I mean, it really is hard to say, but clearly Order is not something you want on your creatures.
Wow, I didn't even think. Wow, that's a good point about the healing elite. So imagine if you have call it a 1 mana spell that says remove order, right? Your opponent drops a healing elite, you play a 2 mana creature, and you could combo remove order spell. And now you paid 3 mana to get rid of a healing elite, right?
That's not that bad at all.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see what these keywords actually mean. But I think
Yeah,
you're
for
on,
sure.
yeah, you're on the right track here. All right, next card, we have a 2 mana light creature. It's a 2 attack, 1 health, Inquisitor Informant. It has a roar effect. Give order +3 to an enemy creature. Oh, what do you think about that, Clutch?
Yeah, so this just confirms that order is bad on your creatures. Skeleton Heavy's a 2 mana 2/4. This is losing 3 health for this effect. So it's got to be very detrimental to give order 3 to a creature. Like what does order do, and why is it valued so highly? Like that's 3 health for this effect. That's a lot.
Yeah, it almost makes you think that the 3 health is worth that 3 order, that it has to be a pretty bad effect, not just order 1, but 3 orders into the opponent. That's a good point.
Yeah, maybe they did that with the health and the order. I'm not sure.
Yeah, thanks, man. I like how you're bringing these this point of view to the new cards. Again, as I mentioned earlier, for me, the word order just seems something that's good, right? I mean, we live in a society with order. You know, we have rules, we have order. So I think right away you're thinking it's something good, but you're bringing up a pretty strong case here where order might not be as good as we some people might think.
It can't be unless there's cards that interact with order creatures. Like I'm just not like there's no way. It has to be bad. After seeing this card, like it has to be.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good comparison to the skeleton heavy where it's a 2/4 and this one loses 3 whole health points and that's huge. So it has to have the roar has to be good for you to play a card that's 2/1.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next card we have Clutch's favorite god, War. 5 mana creature with a 2 attack, 2 health, a Viking tribe tag. The Cage Berserker comes down with Blitz. At the end of your turn, if you are frenzied while this card is in your hand, give it +2/+2. What do you think, Clutch?
Oh man, this is a tough one. If we assume that frenzied means your god is damaged, that's very easy for control war to have happen. You're always getting hit. But this card kind of reminds me of Herdicus. Um, if you top deck this and you need to play, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad when you first draw it. 5 mana 2/2 with Blitz, like that's really bad. But if it's like starts in your hand, which again, I don't know if you really want a 5 mana card in your starting hand, but this effect is pretty strong. +2/+2, you can't ignore that. This could get to 8/8 very easily if it starts in your hand. So 5 mana 8/8, it might be worth keeping it in your hand. And also, it's a Viking, which I'm just now noticing. That makes it way better. There's a lot of war cards that buff Viking specific, such as Valka, or even the new Call to Arms will buff all war cards. So this card's on the line for me.
Yeah, that's a good call because typically when you're running a control war deck, you're running Carnage Sweep at the 5 mana slot, unless I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But I think you don't run the creatures till 6 mana, which is either Aeneas or Herdicus, like you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
Yeah, and again, this one, like you said, it's a Viking, and it comes down with Blitz. So once you've buffed it a little bit from the Frenzied effect, you play it, turn 5 or later, you could immediately interact with it with the Blitz effect. Next card, we have a 3 mana magic card, Defend the Ramparts. This effect is deal 2 damage to 2 different enemy creatures. If you have a structure, deal 3 damage instead.
Oh man, 3 mana, deal 3 to 2 different enemy creatures. Now that's pretty good. Uh, but the cost is you have to have a structure in your deck. Ah, you know, we haven't seen all the cards yet. I know they printed a nice structure card for Death, so maybe Magic gets some structure cards that are worth running. And if they do, you're definitely gonna run this in a structure Magic deck, or maybe just you just have two good structures. You don't even need the whole deck doesn't have to be based around them. You probably run this card. It's honestly, even if you don't have a structure, it's not that bad.
3 mana for 4 damage, but split between 2 creatures.
That's not that bad, is it?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think if you're okay, so if you're playing Tracking Bolt, that's 2 mana, 3 damage. So yeah, it's kind of borderline for me. I'm not really sure how great the effect is without the structure, but I agree with your cost comment though. I mean, not only do you have to run a structure in your deck, but you got to control it too, meaning it has to be on the board. And you said we haven't seen all the cards, but I think currently our structures that we've seen in all the sets that's been released, there hasn't really been a structure that's worth running. So, I'm still iffy on this. I think I agree with you. I need to see if there's better structures coming down. Although,
Yeah, I mean it has. Oh, good.
yeah, although the only thing I could think of is the Diligent Architect. I mean, that way you don't run the structure, you run the card that delves the structure. I don't know if that makes it better, but then now you're depending on almost 2 cards before you could play this card. So maybe that doesn't work.
Yeah, it seems like a good early game control the board tool. So if you go with the architect, it's probably too late. It has ramparts in the name, but I don't think you want to put ramparts in your deck just to run this card.
Yeah. All right, more to see on this card. Let's go to the next one. All right, next we have
Jesus.
next card we have a 7 mana nature creature. It's 8 attack, 1 health, wild tag, giant pangolin. It has blitz, it has confuse, and it has armor 6.
This card's crazy, isn't it? You look at Juggernaut, which is a 6/7. It's better than that. It's way better than that. It's 2 more attack and potentially it. I think if armor works like we said, you need to deal 7 damage in one shot to this thing if you're gonna kill it, which means you're not gonna kill this thing most of the time. I think this card might be crazy.
Yeah, I was trying as you were saying that, I was trying to think of a not ratify, but like a damage spell that does 7 damage, and I can't think of one. Besides, like board wipe stuff, but I'm thinking about just like specific target spells that does 7.
I mean, there's Lightning Strike.
Okay.
That's the only one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So lightning strike would hit 8, so it would cover the armor plus the health. So I mean, it almost seems like you better have a big creature on the board before this card comes down.
Yeah, and if you do, I mean, yeah, it needs to have at least 7 attack because this card's getting a 2-for-1 at least every time.
Yeah, so it's sounding like so I think this goes down to what you were saying about the stat line compared to other cards and trying to determine the keywords here because 1 health right away on a 7 mana is terrible, but now you're offsetting that with 6 armor. So if armor is a boost, this is an 8/7 technically. So then you're thinking this is something with 7 health, but the difference is you need to hit that 7, you need to do 7 damage in one shot.
Yeah, and that's just not likely. This card seems really good to me.
All right, there you go. You guys have it. Clutch is going to convert from war to nature. All right, next card. We have a 2 mana war spell, Hearts of Bronze. The effect is give +1 armor to each of your creatures.
Yeah, you'd probably run this in an aggro war deck if you were gonna run this, because you need a pretty wide board for the effect to be relevant. Maybe even if they're a bunch of small creatures, if you give them 1 armor, it's gonna be a lot harder to kill them, assuming armor does what we think it does. But I don't know. There's a lot better cards. They're not as cheap though. This is only 2 mana, but I'm thinking like the new Overproof Brew, like that card's a finisher. But it is more expensive. I don't know. This might find a slot in the aggro war.
Yeah, because I kind of what you were when you were explaining a scenario earlier. So let's say you have a bunch of 1/1 tokens on your board with war. Normally, if you're playing against Magic, a tracking bolt, 1 damage to everything, just clears out your board. But if you're able to play this, you're giving your creature your little tokens +1 armor now. Tracking bolt's still doing 1, but it's only gonna clear the armors, and it's not gonna be enough to clear the health. So I can see where it could be beneficial, but I agree you're right. I mean, in an aggro deck, you almost want a spell to be a finisher than just trying to sustain on the board.
Yeah, or just play another minion at this point, you know.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna be too good.
All right, good call. All right, next card. 3 mana death spell, Mark of Death. The effect is blessed. Give each of your creatures afterlife summon a 1/1 zombie. So this, to me, Clutch, this is weird. So this is a spell, but it says blessed. So what, like, blessed what? And then the next part makes sense to me. Give each of your creatures afterlife summon a 1/1 zombie. But it's just weird that the spell says blessed. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's almost like I actually don't think it has anything to do with favor now that I'm seeing it. This is my first time seeing this card, but I don't think it can deal with favor if it's on a spell that isn't dealing damage. I know there's one that deals damage, but maybe maybe blessed is something like you can play it twice in one turn or something like that. If we ignore the blessed, this card is pretty weak. There was a 2 mana card that did this in Hearthstone, and it was pretty weak. So I'm not sure if this is going to be, unless blessed is something crazy. We know it's a buff, but like how big is the buff?
Yeah, that's the first I heard of a bless allowing you to play it twice. That'd be pretty strong if you're able to play this twice. So you're giving your creatures double afterlife here. Obviously, you're going to run out if you have a white board. You're going to run into an issue where you don't get to summon all the zombies twice because you're going to run out of space. But if you had, a two creature board and you play this twice, if they kill those creatures, you end up with 4/1/1 zombies. So that'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, curious to see confirmation on what Bless does, but Clutch is coming up with some pretty good ideas here.
Yeah, Kirk could be good in a board spammy death deck. You know, just has tokens. Just needs more of a finisher. Maybe Neferu's Will. Maybe we see that card.
Nice, nice. All right, next card is the card that I actually revealed. It's a 2 mana neutral legendary. It has 1 attack, 1 health. It has a guild tag, Avraxis the Gamekeeper. It's blessed and it has a roar effect. Each player gains a random amount of favor, up to 10. Deal 5 damage to the god of the player who gained the most favor, or to each god in case there's a tie.
There's a lot going on in this card. Uh,
Yeah, I think your first
it,
reaction was
it,
it was too much text.
yeah, yeah, it was. This is way too much text. Um, I am not sure what this does. I think it's good in. Would you run this in aggro?
Yeah, I mean I could imagine. So if again, it's not certain who gets the 5 damage, but in an aggro deck, you're not as concerned as your own health. So if you're able to play 2 mana, deal 5 damage to your opponent's god, and obviously you're looking at the upside, but the downside is you might do it to yourself. But again, you're playing cards in aggro deck for the upside. So if you could play a 2 mana card that does 5 damage to your opponent, possibly, but at the same time gives can give you some favor, right? And then in an aggro deck, favor is huge because you could refill your hand from the Sanctum. So I mean, I could see this running in an aggro deck. It's early enough. It's 2 mana.
Yeah, you probably just throw this in every aggro deck, actually. And again, that's without the blessed. That's definitely gonna make the card better, whatever it does.
Yeah,
This
good.
card might be pretty good, actually.
Yeah. I think you're right. In a specific scenario, if we're thinking this correctly, like an aggro deck, I mean, if you tell an aggro deck pay 2 mana, you get some favor, and then you could also do 5 damage to the opponent's god. I mean, 5 damage is huge in an aggro deck because a lot of times you're looking at a situation where you just need a little burst at the end, and your opponent has a front line or something. You just need kind of get over it. So this is a possible reach for the aggro decks.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's go to the next one. All right, next card is a 5-mana neutral. It is a creature with 2 attack, 2 health, 8th tribe tag, Divine Archon. It has blessed. When you receive a blessing, give +2/+2 to this creature.
Uh, well, that's interesting. We don't know what blessings are either, right? Are they the same as blessed?
Yeah, I haven't actually seen blessing. I mean, I would assume anytime something gets blessed, that's a blessing.
That makes sense. But I haven't seen a card that says give a creature blessed. Is that a card?
Yeah, I'm not recalling that one right now. But let's say, okay, how about you play this card first, and then you run 2 copies of this, right? So the next turn you play another one. That one is blessed. So I'm thinking maybe that triggers it. A card coming down with blessed is from similar to receiving a blessing. But again, yeah, that sounds like it's a little bit of a reach here. But yeah, I mean, without knowing exactly what blessed is, or even a blessing, it's kind of hard to judge this card. But let's say that it is something easy to get. Would you run a 5-mana 4/4?
5 mana 4/4. So if it's blessed, it makes it seem like you play it and it gets the buff immediately. You know what I mean? Because it is blessed and you're receiving the blessing.
Yeah, sort of some
And
of those cards that triggers a roar effect, but it has its own roar effect.
right. I mean, if there's cheap enough blessed cards, I could see it maybe getting around. You know, the fact that it's neutral makes it way more versatile. So it's not obvious that it's going to get slotted in somewhere, but I'm sure it'll be experimented with.
Yeah, because the way it looks right now, if there's enough triggers for the blessing, this card looks like it has tremendous upside with the +2/+2.
Yeah, it could get out of hand.
All right. All right, next card, a war card, 7-mana spell, epic card, Soul Survivor. Give +5 strength to one of your creatures, then deal its strength as damage to each other creature. What are you thinking? What are you thinking, Clutch?
Ah, man, I don't know. I saw some people say that this is good in aggro, but I'm not seeing that. Because it wipes your own board as well. So maybe in control, but it's 7 mana at least, because you need to stick it on a creature. Um, I just think there's better tools for control war. I think aggro, you want to be winning by then, and you probably are winning by then. Maybe if a new archetype comes through that we haven't seen yet, this card could be used in that. But I think if this was just put into the game right now, I don't think any decks would run it.
I think you're right. I mean, in terms of a war deck that's controlled that late in the game, I don't, this seems like it's not it's not consistent enough, or it's not really worth paying the cost of 7 mana.
Yeah, I do wonder if it one goes through ward, and two, if you put this on a leech creature, do you gain health from that? I'm not sure how either of those interactions work, to be honest, but
Oh, that's a good point. If the other effects carry forward, yeah, that'll be something worth testing out.
yeah, like deadly, for example. I don't think I mean if deadly works, then leech would works, and I don't think it makes sense for deadly to work with this.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens if it's
Yeah, we'll
coded.
have to see.
Yeah, coded that way when it comes out, or maybe it's overlooked or something. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see then. All right, let's go to the next card. Our next card is a 5-mana creature from nature, 4 attack, 3 health, wild tag, vicious Manticore. It has blitz, it has overkill. At the end of the turn, if you are frenzied, deal 3 damage to the opponent's god.
Nah, I don't play a lot of nature, so I don't trust my judgment too much on this, but it seems a little weak to me. Um, does have blitz. The 3 damage seems pretty irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. So it's really a 5 mana 4/3 with blitz. What are you overkilling? realistically, with 4 attack, I'm just not seeing this card being too good. Unless I'm missing something. And again, I don't play much nature. But
Yeah, I think you're bringing up a good point. Currently, just like in War, where Carnage Sweep is sort of the 5 mana best in slot, in Nature, 5 mana, you're running a Jaguar Staff. A Jaguar Staff has Blitz, it does 2 damage, and summons a 3/3. There's no overkill, but you're thinking about you play this, you run into something, it's maybe a 4/1 at the end of the turn. You're running a Jaguar Staff instead, you're swinging it as something, and then now you're summoning a 3/3 Jaguar. So I think it remains to be seen if this Manticore provides more value than the Jaguar Staff. Because I think the way the effects read, it's a blitz and overkill. It's one of those things that you plop down, you get rid of something on the board right away, and the Jaguar Staff currently does that as well. So interesting to see. Like I think I'm agreeing here with you that the value proposition for this card right now is not too strong. It remains to be seen, but yeah, I think Nature might have better place at the 5 mana slot.
yeah, I didn't even think of that comparison. I would definitely run Jaguar Staff over this card. Um, it's just, you know, my first impression, I run Jaguar Staff. So
Yeah. All right, next card, a 4 mana death spell, Harrowing Visions. Draw 2 cards. If you are frenzied, draw 3 instead. Now, before you start, Clutch, I gotta say I love the art on this for some reason. This just looks so gothic and crazy. Like it just looks amazing to me. Go ahead.
yeah, that I actually like all the art on these on these cards. But yeah, for the card though, 4 mana draw 3 is insane. Um, there's a 5 mana spell in Magic that says draw 3. This is a mana cheaper, and it's in death, which is typically pretty aggressive. So refilling your hand for 3 cards, only 4 mana, I don't think that's too bad at all, assuming Frenzied is easy to accomplish.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because a lot of times when you're playing Death, Death typically runs cards that already try to draw through their deck. You have Rock, you have that Scarab. So I think card draw is definitely fits into the theme of deck to into the theme of Death here. So if Frenzied is something easy, this is a pretty strong card. 4 mana for 3 cards.
Yeah, honestly, Death has so much draw. I don't even know if you would run this because at the same time, like yeah, it's a lot of value, but you're not really developing the board at all like you are with V-Rock. It's V-Rock draws 2, it's 3 mana, and it comes with a body. So when you say that, but it does draw for the opponent. I could see both ways for it. I really like this card. I think it'll be played.
All right. Next card is a 3 mana Deception creature, a legendary, 3 attack, 3 health, and the guild tribe tag, Lady Marcella. Has a roar effect. Summon 2 rogue skulkers with deadly. Afterlife. Summon 2 rogue skulkers with deadly for your opponent. Didn't you reveal this card, Clutch?
I did reveal this card, and I had the Deception Legend next to me, Marty's boy, and he said that this card is pretty good, and I think I have to agree with him on that.
Yeah, so playing the card, a 3 mana 3/3 is decent stats. It has a tribe tag, so that's a bonus there. It has a roar effect, so it comes with 2/1/1s with deadly. So in a way, you're playing 3 mana and you're getting a 5/5 worth of stats there. And then the afterlife, that's something that if your opponent doesn't deal with it right away, you can kind of control when to trigger the afterlife as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the guild tag I think is going to be massive next expansion. There's a lot of guild synergy from Trial of the Gods that just didn't quite have what it needed to be a real deck. But cards like this definitely help push that archetype. So I think this is a card to watch out for.
Yeah, so yeah, actually you're right. This now that I'm thinking about it, it's a pretty strong card. So you're summoning a 3/3 body, but you're also summoning two skulkers with deadly. Now, how do you deal with those two creatures with deadly, right? I mean, and if you attack it with your creatures, though your creatures die to 2/1/1s. Like this thing is almost like a delayed board wipe.
Yeah, and there's two of them. You got to deal with two of them. Where in your if you're playing as deception, say you have cheat, it's very easy to deal with 1/1s on your opponent's side. It's probably not easy for your opponent to deal with them. Uh, s- I mean, I don't know. This card seems insane.
Yeah, the more we're talking about it, the more this card's power level is like increasing for me. I'm like, wow, this. So it's not only 2/1/1s, but it's 2/1/1s with deadly. So I'm just trying to think, like, how would you deal with that, right?
I think I think a 1/1 with deadly is probably valued at 2 mana. So this is like 7 mana worth of stats and a 3 mana 3/3. I might be reaching a little bit, but come on, like this is good value. And we're ignoring the afterlife because the afterlife doesn't give your opponent the 3/3 either. It's just the 1/1s. Very easy to deal with for deception. You got mugging, you have cheat, you have your
Shiv.
weapon, the one
Yeah.
five relic. Yeah, the shiv. It's just easy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is one of those cards that almost seems like if you're running it in your deck, you're prepared. You have the tools to get rid of the afterlife effect that it's almost all upside.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Our next card is a 3 mana light creature. Has 3 attack, 3 health. The Watchful Hound. It has a roar effect. Give order plus 10 to a target enemy creature. Then the afterlife is remove the order from that creature. So I think this confirms what you're saying. Order is bad because you're giving plus 10 to an enemy creature.
Yeah, you would never do that if it was beneficial. But how bad is it? Order plus 10. Does it even matter if it's plus 3 or plus 10? Like this seems overkill for whatever order does. And the afterlife just gets rid of it. So I think order might. What if order is something like you can't attack for 10 turns?
Oh, so order is like kind of like pacifism. You're like it's almost like a stun, so that creature is just how it counts down the order.
Yeah, something like that. Because if that's what it does, order is really good, but this card's pretty bad, I think, because you can just remove it instantly, and then at that point, it's just a 3 mana 3/3. Basically says put a creature to sleep, and that card already exists, and it's not seen play as is. So
All right, so that's all our card reveals from the new set. Still lots of questions because we don't know what some of the keywords does, but thanks to Clutch helping me out here, we were able to kind of get I would say some pretty good guesses on what we're thinking here. I agree with Clutch where order is something that's um, not good for your own creatures. That it's an effect that targets the opponent creature and hinders them. So Clutch brought some really good points up. Um, just want to say thanks, Clutch, for spending some time going over the new cards with me. Do you have any parting words about the new cards?
oh man, thanks for having me. I'm really excited for this new expansion. I think it's gotta come soon. The reveals just finished up. Um, it, it's gotta be around the corner. I don't want to give people's hopes up, but it's gotta be around the corner.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, it doesn't make sense to start showing cards and then go silent for 2 months or whatever it is. So
Right.
I'm right there with you. I agree. Exciting that we saw some cards, but what's even more exciting is the message behind it that the new set is probably right around the corner as well. Before we take off, Clutch, you want anything you want to plug? I know you're a consistent and entertaining GU streamer. I know you have YouTube, so go ahead and let us know where we can find you.
Oh man, you can find me. All the socials are Clutch GU, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. I try to post everywhere, so uh, drop a follow, subscription. I appreciate everyone.
All right. Yeah, for those of you watching the video, I'm going to drop all of those links to Clutch in the description so you could get those links directly. And Clutch forgot to mention one other thing where you can find them. You usually find them at the top of the GU Dex Ranked Weekend or the MMR. Come on, Clutch.
Let's go.
Let's
Let's go.
go.
Forgot about that one. You're right.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so those are the cards that have been revealed so far for Divine Order. Again, a big thank you to Clutch for hanging out with me, sharing some of his insights and thoughts on the new cards that have been shown so far. Please make sure to follow Clutch on Twitter at ClutchGU. You can catch him on Twitch, also ClutchGU, and he also has a YouTube channel. I will go ahead and throw all those links in the description. Please make sure to support Clutch. He's definitely one of the top players in Gods Unchained and a great guy. All right, we'll be looking forward to seeing the new cards from Divine Order out for purchase and in play.